What's going on, guys? So if this is your first time watching this channel, welcome. This is more of a laid-back, casual conversation and my first impressions of unboxing products. And this one in particular is going to be the MacBook Neo. I have the Touch ID version and the non-Touch ID version. So depending on what you want to pick up, you'll be able to see what the difference is. And I also have the MacBook Air as well as the new MacBook Pro, but these two will be unboxed and my first impressions will be in a different video. But we have to pay respects to the people who keep these lights on, and that would be our sponsor for today, Nobody. So this is future me. I just want to put this towards the beginning of the video. I do have a website, so if you want to see more of the specs and stuff like that, go check out the link down in the description below. And if you do want to support the channel, please do use my affiliate links on the deal site on my website. Go through Amazon, Walmart, Best Buy, and pick it up there. Really does help out the channel. Back to the video. All right, getting all these laptops unboxed here. I just almost lost my thumb there. All right, so the colors that I have are the indigo and the purple. This is actually a pretty nice compliment for the colors. Toss them on the ground. When you first get this, you see a tab that says hello. That's new. I actually like that. They need to keep that for the new MacBook Pros and the MacBook Air. So yeah, it's definitely color coded. It might be a little hard to see with the pink variant. But yeah, let's go ahead and lift these up. And I was told there's no power adapter or a cable. You guys are complete liars. They're right here. So sucks that they're not color coded, but hey, it is what it is. Go ahead and get these out the way. All right, so let's look at the indigo first. Apple, I wish these colors would come to the MacBook Pro. Wow, this is super boxy. The MacBook Neo. This is actually so nice. What the heck? Okay, Apple, I see you, I see you, I see you. Let's get the pink out of here. Dude, Apple, put this on the MacBook Air and the MacBook Pro. This is the pink. So this is definitely pink, and honestly, my overhead camera is not doing it justice for this pink. Like my main camera, as you can see right here, this is more of what the pink looks like. I'm still a new YouTuber, I apologize. But yeah, the pink is definitely pink. So compared to the other MacBooks, like the MacBook Air and the MacBook Pro, this is definitely more of a rounded feel, and it's actually really comfortable. I would say it's like equivalent to holding a big iPad, is what I would say. So very comfortable. But yeah, let's go ahead and open these up, see what the difference is. Why do I always do that whenever I do unboxings? Okay, so the screens are definitely not superb in the sense of like edge to edge, all that good stuff on what you get on the MacBook Air and the MacBook Pro, but for $600, this is not too shabby. So the pink variant, let me show you guys real quick, and I will zoom in on the overhead, and I apologize if I'm hitting these laptops. It's not intentional at all. Yeah, let me zoom in on the keyboard for you guys here. You can see that the keyboard is color matched to what you have for your laptop. And if you get the base model, you just get this lock button here. But if I bring over, wow, they changed the keyboard. But if you get the 512 model, and let me zoom in here, this colorway might be the best one. But as you can see here, if you get 512, you get Touch ID. So do keep that in mind. Is Touch ID really essential? Sorta, kinda. If you have an Apple Watch, maybe you can get away with just using the lock button. That's just me. But yeah, there's no enter button. It's just the enter arrow. Some other things, there's no like shift. So they definitely kind of skimped on the keyboard in some aspects and sort of like the print. But overall,
English is the main language. Press the return key.
Do not interrupt me. It's updating. No, stop, bro. Please stop updating. It's gonna make the video like 2 hours long. All right, since I accidentally decided to update the laptop during the setup process, we're going to use the pink model without the Touch ID since I'm already set up here. So once you hit get started, you're pretty much in macOS. This is the beauty of this OS compared to things like Windows. That's all I'll say. This is the A18 Pro with 8 gigabytes of RAM, which if you're coming from the Windows side, you're gonna be like, wow, that is not a lot of memory, but macOS is pretty efficient. And if you're doing very basic stuff on a computer, trust me, 8 gigabytes is going to feel like 16 compared to Windows, especially with Copilot taking like 512 gigabytes of memory. It's been so long since I've done my first impressions on a laptop. I don't even know what to do, but let's talk about the ports. So the ports are USB-C. One of them is USB 2, the other one is USB 3. We have a headphone jack, and then we have two slits on both sides for the speaker. What I want to talk about for these ports here, one of them is USB 2, the other one is USB 3. The only way I think a lot of people are going to notice a difference between the two is if you have like a flash drive or external hard drive that you end up plugging into one of these two, one of them is going to be significantly slower than the other one. So do keep in mind, if you have like a flash drive that is rated for USB 3 or above, or an external SSD or hard drive that is USB 3 or above, you want to make sure you use the proper port. And I'll see if I can try and label it on here, which one is USB 3 and which one is USB 2. All right, other than that, that's pretty much laptop. Like I said before, it's pretty rounded compared to like most MacBooks in the lineup. I do want to open it up too, but I'll do that in a little bit. Now, without Touch ID, you are going to type in your password, so do keep that in mind. So if I were to hit this lock button here, nothing happens. Okay, there we go. So, gonna type in my password. Just go ahead and test out the keyboard. So let's just do a typing test. Which one should I do? Monkey type? Live chat. What's live chat? I've never done live chat before. Oh, yes, I have. All right, so let's just go ahead, do a quick typing test. Oh, I'm butchering this.
macOS contains a built-in screen reader called...
Why would you start talking in the middle of my typing test? You ruined everything. This website sucks. I don't care. This website sucks. Give me the hardest difficulty. You're crazy if you think I'm doing this. I'm doing it. I have a minute. Bro, what kind of what? I'm not doing this one either. What the heck? These are crazy. Okay. Honestly, it feels like a Magic Keyboard, but it's not as satisfying. Like, it's very slight. Like, when I say it doesn't feel the same as like a MacBook Air, MacBook Pro keyboard, it's like very subtle. Like, I'd say the switches on the MacBook Air and the MacBook Pro are like more crisp. This one feels a little bit flat, but for $500, $600, I'm not complaining at all. But yeah, keyboard, keep in mind, it is not backlit. The only backlit thing that you have on this keyboard is this little light here that lets you know that caps lock is on. And like I said before, the text on the keyboard is a bit different than what you get on a MacBook Air and the MacBook Pro, because I know there's like enter here, there's like delete that's actually written out and things like that, but it's pretty much bare for the most part. But in terms of feel of the keyboard, it's pretty much a Magic Keyboard through and through. I think the biggest thing that a lot of people might notice if they've had like a previous MacBook Pro or even a MacBook Air is the trackpad. The trackpad is honestly still a pretty good trackpad overall for a laptop in this category or this price range. But it just doesn't feel as satisfying as the MacBook Pro and MacBook Air. And to be honest, I really shouldn't be comparing the MacBook Air and the MacBook Pro to the MacBook Neo because these are just in like two completely different tiers. I should be comparing this to where's my Lenovo ThinkPad. That thing probably ran away at this point, but it's compared to Windows laptops that are in this price point. And I would say the keyboard and trackpad are leaps and bounds better than what I get on most Windows laptops at this price point. But it would be nice to have backlit keyboards. Let's go to the next thing. Let's test out these speakers here and just go to one of my YouTube videos.
But you can stop them by voting yes by April 21st.
I don't know if that's a deepfake, like actually Barack Obama. I don't know what's real anymore. That's all I'm gonna say.
On guys, so from the title of the video, it's true. My SIM card is going back in my iPhone 13 Pro. To prove it to you guys, you can see the cell service there on the top left and right. It is in fact on the 13 Pro. If I were to show you my 17 Pro, you'll see that it has SOS. So my SIM card is in the 13 Pro.
I don't even need to play this for like a full minute. This is how is this $600? Yeah, $600. Let me go ahead and move this laptop out the way. $600 for what I'm hearing is just superb. What the heck? This is $600? Sorry, I'm like this laptop just like broke my entire expectation for the speakers.
For longtime viewers on the channel, it might not be that shocking to you, but for new viewers, you may be asking, what's wrong with the 17 Pro Max?
Let's play some music. Oh man, Apple, what did you do? What did you do? What did you do? And I say this in a way that's just like the marketplace. Like $600, $500 a year from now when these laptops probably drop in price, 400, maybe even 350. This is crazy. Is this better than an M1 MacBook Air though? Let me see if I can slide this sucker out. Huh. That's tough. That's tough. I mean, you guys can see the difference here already. Like, this premium. Not so premium, but you're definitely getting there in terms of like the overall experience. This is tough. This is tough. Like, if you're a brand new Mac user, like you've never bought a MacBook before, if you're not in college, I think the MacBook Neo is like pretty much the choice you should be making. Under the age, or not under the age, because people can go to college at like 30, 40 years old. If you are like in your adolescent years and you're not in college yet, MacBook Neo, easily. If you're past college, you're in your career, you're developing, you're developing, what am I even saying? You're progressing to becoming an adult. I think the MacBook Air is a solid choice. Not even the M1. Like, just get the M5 or something cheaper. I think M1 has paid its due. Like, this laptop was made so the Neo could walk, whatever that phrase is. But I think at a minimum, people should start buying the M2 unless you really are constrained on money. But I went on a complete tangent based off the sound alone. But compared to Windows laptops, you're not touching this in terms of like the speakers. These are exceptional. Maybe Chromebooks, because I would say Chromebooks actually have some pretty decent speakers, but this is pretty amazing. Let me go ahead and test out the camera real quick and the microphone and play that back for you guys so you know how that looks and sounds if you're going to be on like a Zoom call, Teams call, Google Meet, stuff like that. All right, so this is me testing out the microphone and the camera quality on the MacBook Neo. So there is no center stage, unfortunately. So if I move to the left or right, I'm not going to be able to have that camera follow me through the software, but I do have access to portrait mode. And I can also do the studio light as well. I can also have the edge light. So if I'm in like a dimly lit area, it's able to light me up a little bit. I think reactions are still here. So if I do like 2 thumbs up, you know, all that good stuff still happens. I can even change the background for it to be, you know, I'm presenting at the Apple Studio right here. So you get all this nice benefits. I would say that kind of makes up for it in some aspects for, you know, not having the center stage, stuff like that. It's not really essential, but it is there. It does have the voice isolation, so I don't know if you guys can hear a difference in how I'm talking right now. Just do traffic in India. So right now that's at max volume, and I'm actually just going to speak in my regular voice. And you guys let me know if you can still hear that right now on the voice isolation. And now I'm going to go back to the standard. And you guys let me know if there is a big difference between the two. So this is without voice isolation, and this is with voice isolation. That is really loud, by the way. Jesus. So far, I'm pretty impressed. I want to open this laptop. Let me go ahead and get my iFixit toolkit. So I actually want to get into this laptop here because I am quite interested. And before anyone says anything, I will make sure to turn off the laptop so I don't electrocute myself and die, because that would suck. Wow, just like that, it's gone. It smells like pure engineering. It smells so good. Oh my god, this is simple. Simply simple. Look at this. I look at a Windows laptop and it's just either lots of empty space or just a bunch of hodgepodge parts melted together, metaphorically speaking. This just seems, in comparison, compared to Windows laptops, like the design team and the engineers had time to actually design what they wanted, and everything just has its own spot and is perfectly supposed to live there. And if these are the speakers, that's some massive speakers for a laptop in this price range. This is the trackpad here, this is the battery, and then all this up here is probably driving the display as well as the main logic board with the CPU as well. Let me see. Dang, that's beautiful. Like, this is just, like, if you're an engineer, I'm sorry, this is just beautiful. You did a good job. This is impeccable work. Impeccable work. Look, even the whole chassis on the inside is pink too. This is $600. Jeez, I don't know how you did it, Apple. This is crazy. All right, let me put this back on because I will have some alone time with this thing with this bottom off. That's crazy. That's probably one of the best looking interiors of a MacBook that I've seen in like ever, pretty much. Maybe the MacBook Pro still takes the crown, the 16-inch, because there's just no comment, just pure beauty whenever you open up that laptop. But just kind of highlighting the biggest difference between, you know, what they had to trim down in order to get to this price point would be, first of all, the display is not P3 wide gamut, it's just a regular sRGB, but it still gets 500 nits, which I think is actually pretty impressive in this price category. Apple is known to have a glossy finish on their screens, and I would say, compared to Windows laptops in this price range, this is superb. It's not, you know, the rivals of like the new MacBook Air, the MacBook Pro, things of that nature, but it's still a really good screen to look at. So if you want to pick this up to primarily just watch stuff, I think this is a really good laptop. The speakers too as well, I would say, are exceptional in this price category. The battery life, based off the chip and the processor in here, I'd say is going to be good enough for most people. Definitely don't try and go out and use this for a lot of like creative work, like 4K and stuff like that. You can probably do, you know, 1080p videos here and there, maybe even 4K videos, because the iPhone is a very capable processor. This is like the first time we're seeing it inside of a laptop running macOS. But I think you should be able to get away with it for the most part, but don't rely on this machine to do all sorts of that stuff. AI, completely out the question. Don't even try to do it. You can probably get like a model with like 6,000 parameters at most, and then anything else is just going to be completely terrible with your 8 gigabytes of unified memory. But I would say overall, this is a great laptop. I think the biggest factor that people need to decide, let me actually check real quick in the settings, is Touch ID or not. And if you have an Apple Watch, I think you can probably just get away using the Apple Watch to unlock your computer, to be completely honest with you. So they do have an option here that, you know, allow Apple Watch to unlock your Mac. I'm not signed into iCloud, so I don't think the option's fully here. But if you do have the ability to have your Apple Watch unlock your Mac, I actually think it's probably not even worth it to get Touch ID. Just wear your watch, and as soon as you open up your laptop, boom, you're good to go. But outside of that, man, like, this might be the baseline recommendation that I have for most people when it comes to getting their first MacBook. Once again, if you're in your adolescent years, you're not in college yet, just get the MacBook Neo, in my opinion. If you're in college, start looking at the MacBook Air. If you're into your career, you got the money to spend, you want something a little bit nice for yourself, get the MacBook Pro. But I really do think for most people, the MacBook Air is probably one of the best machines you can buy at that price point, unless you just truly need Windows. But once again, $500, $600. This is a laptop that I'm probably going to recommend to my family, my friends, for people who just want a laptop that does the essentials, because this is just incredible value for what you're getting. And if you guys are curious, I will do a comparison between, you know, the original M1 machine, the other MacBook Airs that they have as well, maybe even the MacBook Pro, but once again, those are in a completely different class compared to what we have on the MacBook Neo. But I'm pretty happy with the colors. I'm honestly surprised they decided to make a pink MacBook in this administration, but I think the biggest thing that a lot of people are talking about when it comes to these laptops, and I've probably said a lot in this video as well, is the price point, right? I think Apple, out of all the companies, I'm surprised that they're able to give us this in a laptop for $500, $600, given the hikes in the RAM prices, hikes in the storages, and even when it comes to the display and all the other stuff that comes with this laptop, that it sits comfortably at $500, $600. And I think it's really just to get people into the Apple ecosystem. Then they start buying Apple Music, iCloud storage, the subscriptions where it becomes that recurring model. But I just don't know how this laptop is $500, $600. So I'm pretty much coming to the same conclusion with my first impressions that I've had when the M1 first came out. And I think Apple has released something that is going to have major ripple effects in the entire like budget lower end category. Now, we're not talking like $200, $300, but give it a year. Trust me, when these laptops drop in prices, you can even get a MacBook M1 Air that's refurbished for like $300, $500, $300, $350. Like, it's my opinion, unless you truly need Windows, which I don't think Windows in the greatest state right now, I think Mac OS is going to have a strong surge within the next decade. That's just my opinion, but that's my first impression on the MacBook Neo. You guys let me know what your guys' thoughts are, what you expect this laptop to do if you're going to see it out in the wild. I'm excited. I think the Indigo is probably the best one. I know I said I was going to get that lime highlighter color, but nah, this Indigo is a really nice laptop. Super lightweight. It's a little bit smaller than the MacBook Air as well, but it's a nice laptop. What's going on, guys? So people who are familiar with the channel, welcome back. And if you are new to this channel, I'm going to be unboxing the MacBook Pro Neo. The MacBook Neo. What's going on, guys? So this is a video where I'm going to be doing my first impressions and unboxing of the MacBook Neo. I have them in both variants where it has the Touch ID and the non-Touch ID version. Why do I stumble over my words? Why can't I just speak like a normal human being? Variants which have the Touch ID button and the non-Touch ID version. What? What? You have Apple Intelligence on here? That's crazy. That's actually crazy. I'm not gonna lie. This is a $500, $600 laptop, man. What the heck?